Everything's coming up greener.
Here's Harold Matthews. He is
The Garden Doctor. The Garden Doctor.
Hello and welcome to the Garden Doctor Show. Everybody in the whole area around here that's watching us in Connorsville and the surrounding area.
Yes, hello.
We've branched out. Our roots are growing all of the time. And
everywhere.
So is our head swelling up, and it's just...
I don't know. His head's swelling up some. I don't know.
That's just a normal
It's just
state
the
of
beard,
affairs.
I think.
Did you see this weather we brought for you? This
Wow.
is directly from us to you. You know,
Yep. Oh, wow.
The weather that was a week or so ago. That's my ex-mother-in-law. That's all
Are you
her.
going to claim responsibility for all this flooding and rain going
well,
on?
no. I didn't say that. The weather today.
Oh,
I said
gotcha.
today.
The pretty weather.
We feel bad for the people that are flooded. We live in a floodplain.
Yes.
I've had water in my
A
garage.
couple of times, yes.
I had water in the house, and so I know how terrible it can be to get up and see the mud, and it's no fun at all.
It's a very scary thing, terrible tragedy.
Yes, it is.
All
Yes,
the
it is.
people out in Indiana, Illinois who have just they've been washed away. Cars have been washed away. Homes are destroyed. The flooding. So we're hoping that will recede and we'll get back to normal levels.
We have some terrible situations in Texas and, of course, in Boston.
Yes.
We're from New England, so...
oh, my gosh. I was so worried. I know my daughter-in-law thought I was crazy, but Boston, of course, just south of Boston is where my daughter-in-law lives and grandchildren, son in Rhode Island. And then just north of Boston, our parents, his sister, all live in New Hampshire. So when all that was going on in Boston...
She was driving them all buggy.
I was told my daughter-in-law,
all...
stay home from work, please don't, because she was right in that area and anything could happen and I'm far away and there's nothing I could do. So
yes, that's
we
true.
feel terrible about the bombings and the families who have suffered and who are still recuperating in the hospital. Our hearts go out to them.
And this happens in other countries every day.
But
fortunately,
we're not used
here.
to that, yes.
And we're not accustomed to it and never want to be. And
Nope.
I'm glad we have found an end so far. At least we have the two that were responsible.
Yes, and then another shout out to the people in West Texas. How about that explosion of a fertilizer plant that just blew apart apartment buildings and tore apart homes and families, and what a shame. Sad situation.
A lot of plants are getting old, and they require maintenance. And when the economy stalls, then a lot of things that need to be done desperately, bridges and overpasses not getting maintained properly, and some of the upgrades that need to happen to some of these older factories. I'm not sure what happened there.
We still don't know.
I know that a lot of fires are occurring, and I have a very, very good friend that is a fireman. He hunts with us and everything, and
Hey, Mark.
he has often here recently said that sprinkler system. There's a lot of things that need attention that are just not getting the attention.
So you're talking about basic infrastructure, hydrants,
and it's not
roads.
the fault. The people are working on it as fast as they can, considering the amount of money they have available.
Well, I guess
anyway,
that blast was so bad and fast.
That was a bad one. Yeah, fertilizer is one of the main components of many of the bombs.
That is true.
Moving right along to the gardening
right.
business.
Gardening, spring is here.
Spring is not here.
Oh,
This is just a false...
such a pessimist.
No. Really.
Come on.
You know, when I first moved to Connorsville back in in '79, it was the last frost date was May the 10th. Then all of a sudden, I didn't even notice, but somebody came to me and said, you know, the new frost date is the 1st of May. And I said, well, that's just ridiculous. You don't move the frost date.
Well.
Then, about 8 or 10 years later, I was on the internet doing some searching or at the library or something, and I noticed that the frost date had been moved back to April the 25th, which is the official date now, and it will soon be April the 20th. Now, something's happening at a very rapid rate. If you don't believe in global warming, you don't live on this planet.
And you don't necessarily have to believe in global warming to notice there's a climate change. That shift in climate, the change in dates, whatever you think was causing it is kind of irrelevant, because the way it is affecting it, well, I guess it isn't irrelevant because we do need to make some changes, or, things are going to get worse. But this is climate change, and we are dealing with that, droughts, floods, and everything in between.
Yeah, and part of that, this new world as we have to live in it, I was made aware of. I was doing some trimming. I can't do near as much as I used to do, but I have some customers that I like to do a little bit for here and there. And I was trimming it in my own house, and I was trimming maples and hackberry, and I noticed how brittle they were. And I said, wow, this must be my imagination. So I called an arborist friend of mine, and him and I have gone to school together and everything. And he said, no, it's not your imagination. The trees are far more brittle than they have been in the past. Then I called another gentleman that is retired now from Ball State, and talked to him for a while, and we had a conference call, and they all concluded that yes, the trees,
really? Wow.
because they're reacting to this drought, heat,
a repeated
all
drought,
all of this weather weirdness has made the plants in general more susceptible and more brittle. Now, under normal circumstances, when I'm cutting into a maple tree that has an overhang, I undercut a little bit. Then I go out 2 or 3 inches past that and cut down, and then you get a clean break. The limb will break cleanly, and you have to judge the undercut so that you don't get your saw pinched, depending on the weight that extends.
A lot of
out.
variables that you're
Yeah,
a
you just
professional
kind of
at.
feel it,
So
but
right,
it's not feel anymore, because this time I would touch the top, and before I could pass the saw where it normally would be, it would snap, and I would lose control of the way the limb fell. If your cut is clean, and if you cut properly, the limb will actually just float to the ground. It doesn't tip up and go head first. It doesn't bounce when the brush hits. It just floats to the ground.
Well, apparently you will have to change with the times and maybe change your cutting techniques based on
I'm going to
this
change
new...
from trimming in the trees to fishing
Well,
on
there
the
you
ground.
go.
That's what I'm going to do.
But it's amazing that the actual density of the wood has changed, from repeated droughts and
I was looking through the record. And
let's hear some records.
Well, the records are
what do we got?
Over 1,000 records were broken a month in the last 10 years. A month. Now, these are records of highs and lows of individual days of all sorts. Winds and tornado, all different records. 1,000
hurricanes,
records
tropical storms,
a month
all the above.
in the last 10 years. That's insane. Before the average, it sounded kind of high to me, but the average record is 101. So we went from 101, which is the average records being broken in a month, of all different things, height of water, amount of rain in this area, size of hail, everything else, to 1,000. That's because we're entering some pretty
And I don't see an end to
strange
that.
times
I
now.
believe we will continue to break records. The hurricanes have continued to break records. I think the rainfall, the drought, all the above will continue to break records.
Hey,
what do we
it's
do?
a live show. We forgot.
That's right. We
We're
are live
We're
tonight.
live. She's live. I'm live.
Woohoo, we're live. Yay.
We would
Call
like
in.
to hear from you. Call in and ask us some questions.
And that number on your screen is 825-3245. Give us a call here at the studio.
I always forget that number.
With a question or a comment,
They ought to
or
put
just
it on
to
the
say
screen
hi.
or something, so you could just see it.
Well, I had a gentleman stop me the other day at the post office. If you're out there watching, thank you very much. We appreciate
post
that
office?
support.
What?
We weren't playing post office. That's not what I said.
right.
But I love it when people come up and say, "Oh, we saw the show and we enjoy it, and you guys do a good job, and we appreciate
really
that."
do.
Yes.
We want to especially welcome the new.
He lost his glasses. Where are we going?
There we
here?
go. The new landscape company in Connorsville.
Yes, we do.
The Hamiltons up on the north end of town. They have the Hamiltons Home
They
and
had
Garden.
a grand opening
Just
celebration.
had a grand opening. We couldn't make it.
Saturday.
we were preoccupied with a couple of birthdays that, and we wanted to get up there and welcome them in person.
Yes,
him and his wife and his daughter.
It was in the paper today about their ribbon cutting ceremony, and
you
we
know,
wish
this
them
time of the
best.
year, you get hundreds and hundreds of seed
Look
catalogs.
at this. We get a lot.
I could bring in literally
That's
100
not
seed
even the whole
catalogs.
stack, honey.
No, this is not a whole stack. I
That's
just wanted to bring a couple. But
amazing.
What we need to do,
Oh, look, the
it's
Burgess.
great to go through the seed catalogs and look at what's available.
Yeah, your old-fashioned Burgess seed catalog still out there. Look at that.
This is one that specializes just in tomatoes, and they have an unbelievable selection of
Heirloom
tomatoes.
tomatoes, which are hot right
This
now.
is all
again.
wonderful. This is great. This is fantastic. This is a lot of fun. But you really should take the time to visit all of the local nurseries. You
Yes.
got Clark's over here. That's as you go out of town, they have a really nice greenhouse.
do.
Grow a lot of nice big mums. You can go outside of town to McDivitt's.
Oh, that's fabulous.
That's a great greenhouse to go visit. Nice people out there. They have bark mulch. They got produce and all kinds of other things. We'll go through another list here later on. Remind me to get back to this.
I will. I'll
we have a
remind
caller. We want to go directly to the lines. Hello,
Hi.
you're on the air with Mr. and Mrs. Garden Doctor. How can we help you?
I have a question. I have a large maple tree in my backyard, and little maple trees just come up to, you can't see the grass.
Oh, boy.
I just,
Those maple seeds, they just are crazy, aren't they?
If the small maple trees are coming from the seeds of the large maple tree, then they can be mowed and treated with weed and feed, and you won't have a problem. If they're coming from the root structure, then it could be a sign that the large maple is in serious trouble and possibly in decline.
Do you know if it's from the maple seeds? Because I haven't seen mine falling yet, or maybe
they're-
from last year.
Last fall, yeah.
Do you see a lot of those?
They came from maple seeds.
Yeah, those little helicopters.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, boy.
If they're in the landscape bed, there's nothing that'll prevent them from rooting.
You can pull them.
Yeah, you can pull them, but that once they're a real nuisance.
They
but
are,
if
and they're
in
tough.
your lawn, that's not a problem.
Just mow
You
'em?
can mow them, and it does not hurt the mower at all. And if you mow them twice or three times, it usually the plant will die just from mowing. But I want to caution everybody, this year, please try to raise your mower up. The higher you mow, the less you will mow, and the less you will have to control weeds, including maples, the less that you will have to control dandelions, all of the vetches. You'll provide more shade to your lawn so that you'll have to water it less, and you do some great things for the lawn just by mowing it
Well,
higher.
even the maple seeds, if you mow higher, that's still going to be effective in cutting those off, and then the next cutting those off will kill them in the lawn. But you're still high enough to do as he's saying for the benefit of your lawn. Don't feel like you have to cut real short to get those maple seeds or get that pretty lawn.
They'll be killed just by getting the foliage
And
off.
the first mowing, you want to keep the grass clippings on
Yeah,
the lawn, right?
don't collect the grass. Has this been a problem for years or just this year?
Just this year.
Yeah, you see, when trees go through severe conditions like droughts, they produce a lot more seeds than they would
And
normally.
we had a terrible drought last year.
And yeah, we've had this ongoing drought and overwatering and everything else.
So what
going
they
on.
do, if I understand you right, is they throw a bunch of these seeds thinking, oh no, my life is threatened, I'm in a drought.
Right.
So they throw all these seeds to try and reproduce thinking that they are in decline. So
I think just mowing will do it though, man.
good.
Okay, thank you.
Mow them
Thank you.
down and mow them twice, okay?
And if it doesn't work, a month from now you're going to have a jungle, so you can call us back.
Thank you very much for
Thank you.
calling.
Thank you for calling. We appreciate it. And we have another caller. We'll go directly to them. You're on the air with Mr. and Mrs. Garden Doctor.
Hi.
What can we do for you?
Uh,
Hello.
Hello.
Are you there? Hello. Yes. What can we do for you?
Hi. We have a caller? All
Okay.
right. I guess we lost you. I'm sorry. If that was you, please give us a call back. We must
Ring
have
right
lost
back.
you. Yes. Okay.
Ring right back. Sometimes we get a little wordy. She gets a little wordy.
Yeah,
so
I
it
talk
takes a
too
while
much.
to answer a question.
I know.
So if you get on the line, that.
Yeah,
Okay. So now back to the Whitetail Acres down in Brookville.
Excellent
Fantastic
nursery.
place. They raise a lot of their own plants, and they are an actual tree nursery. Whereas most people, they buy in their trees, but Whitetail Acres actually has a tree nursery not too far from where their nursery is.
And then there's that lovely place in Newcastle, Denny's.
Denny's. Oh, I love Denny's.
Yeah,
we like to go up there.
Many varieties of tomatoes they have.
He's out of the way. I think he's on 22nd Street.
It's a little tucked in back place, but
it's a residential street for
right
crying
in
out
the
loud.
neighborhood, but they have greenhouses.
Let's see. Who am I forgetting? There's another one. Whitetail Acres and
Clark's
already said Clark's.
McDivot's and now the new Hamiltons and who knows
Bird Nursery.
Oh,
that's
Bird
it.
Tree Nursery.
Bird Tree Nursery. Now he has he doesn't have a regular nursery, but there's a big tree nursery. It's over by Liberty, and he has the capacity to move large trees. So if you have a large tree that you need relocated because you're putting a garage in or something, especially if it's a blue spruce or something that's worth it, then you might give Bird a call. But
another one too is we oftentimes could find a lot of nice quality plants at Walmart, the old Walmart. However, with this new super Walmart that we have, the garden center
we're allowed an opinion
is almost non-existent.
Well,
so I don't know what
they're
gonna
changing
have.
some things up there,
I have
but
no
boy,
idea.
we chewed them out for the first year.
Well, I figure they added groceries, added electronics,
But
and
my
that was
point
it,
is to go local. Look at the local places. Take a day trip. Drive around down to Brookville and look at Whitetail Acres and visit the people down there and see what they've got to offer and try to buy from the local suppliers because that's what keeps them in business. They're a mom and pop outfit. All of them are independently owned, and this is their livelihood. Okay, we have a caller. We're going right back to them. You're on the air. What can we do for you?
Hi there.
Hi.
Are you there? Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hi there.
Here we go again.
What can I do for you?
Who are we talking to?
Hello.
Yep. Go ahead.
How late can you trim fruit trees?
Fruit trees?
Yeah.
Fruit trees can be trimmed now. They want to be pruned before you would knock off the blossom, because if you're shaking the tree when it's fully in bud, doing the pruning process, that bud is very brittle and it tends to get knocked off. So we try to avoid pruning when they're in the bud. But I have pruned fruit trees after they have set fruit.
I thought maybe years ago I thought they used to say you didn't want to trim them after the sap came up. I don't know.
That's exactly correct. But now we've found that the sap doesn't just go up one time of the year, it goes up most of the year. So we used to believe that spring all the sap went up, the leaves grew out, but a lot of the sap is contained up in the tree. So we have found that we don't paint the cuts anymore, but the ideal time to prune a fruit tree is in the dormant stage, anywhere from the time they lose their leaves through until usually March. And most of the commercial trees will be pruned in February or March. And then you can put the dormant oils on.
But it's not too late now?
It's not too late. I have pruned fruit trees, and I used to prune for one of the large orchards around here. I've pruned fruit trees after they set fruit, because if you've got an extremely heavy set one year or another, it'll bust the tree. So you go in and you prune to remove some of the fruit and to direct the fruit so that you get the maximum size by removing some of the smaller, as well as pruning the branches out. But if the branches that you're pruning are rubbing or damaged or diseased or partially dead or something, prune any time that you think you should.
There are too many branches.
Yeah, too many branches, especially on the inside, is a very bad thing. When you've got too much brush on the inside, you get no air circulation, and that's when you start getting diseases and black spot and so forth like that. Cleaning
Well,
out.
you used to say too, you don't want to cut horizontal. You want to cut the vertical. Is that right or not?
Yes, you cut anything that's growing in towards the middle, and you want to cut the stuff that grows straight up so that you're producing more growth this way so that you can pick the fruit. Because when it's way up in the air, you can't get to it, and when it falls that far to the ground, then you got a problem. And I would always prune the inside out and prune any growth to the sky comes out.
Okay. Thank you very much,
Well,
sir.
thank you. It's very important this year. Bye now. It's very important this year on fruit trees and fruit, raspberries, blackberries, whatever it happens to be, that they be fertilized because we didn't really get enough natural fertilizer.
When would you do that? Now, as they're budding and setting fruit?
I'd wait a little bit. We're still on the. We could still have one more frost.
That's true. We're not quite done yet, I don't think, with spring. There is a chance of that, one more frost up until, what is the date now?
May the 10th?
No, I thought it was May the 1st.
Actually,
we don't know.
Actually, I think the last possible day will be this
We're supposed
Thursday.
to know this stuff. We should have looked on the internet.
I'm telling you, this Thursday. If it doesn't frost this Thursday, I think we're
okay.
we're
good.
Now, do you know what plants can be?
Is this a test?
Did you have a joke?
Oh boy, have I got a joke.
Well, give me one.
If April showers bring May flowers, what do May flowers bring?
If what?
If April showers bring May flowers, what do May flowers bring?
Ticks.
Pilgrims, silly. Get it? They came over on the Mayflower. Yeah, they came. That's right, on the Mayflower. Okay,
You do one more quick. Quick.
No good.
Do
What
it.
do you call a rabbit with fleas? Bugs Bunny. Okay, I'll cross that one.
That was actually pretty good. I like that. No, keep that.
All right.
I like that.
I'll tell that one to the kids.
Yeah, keep that.
All right,
Now-
I get to keep that one.
Okay.
Now, also, speaking of ticks, while this time of year they are out there and bad, we took the dogs out for a walk the other day, and we thought we were kind of early for flea and ticks, really. And with the winter time, I hadn't put the drops on the back of the dogs, and we came back and sure enough found 2 ticks. So now is that time, not just to watch for ticks on yourself, but go ahead and put that behind the shoulder, front line, or whatever you use from the vet office. That's the good stuff. Put it on your dogs. Protect them from fleas and ticks. They won't bring them in the house that way, too. Okay. I said my part about
You
that.
said your part.
I
I
did.
failed to mention a local nursery. Now, this is a little bit outside the local, but Stockslagers is really worth a trip. It's between
on that road.
Eaton and Dayton on that pike.
720 foot.
Something.
We don't know.
Well, I drive there, but I don't look down at
Yes,
what
it is something pike, isn't it?
Yeah, it's something pike. But you go out to Eaton, you go like you're going from Liberty to Brookville, and you turn right. It's right there somewhere. There's an address on there somewhere.
I don't know.
But anyway, and it's a beautiful greenhouse nursery on the left. There's about 12 greenhouses there.
Eaton Pike.
Eaton Pike. There you go. And it's well worth the trip. And then there's a nice place to eat a little further down, the antique shop and some things.
Well, you never took me there.
Well, you haven't seen the ladies in there that are doing the pruning on
Wow.
then. Hey, Seed Savers. Now, this is an important catalog. We're
That's what it's called,
hybriding
too.
a lot of things. And this hybridization, okay. Improvements, maybe. But we have to be a little bit more careful. We're doing this too fast, and we're not really figuring out exactly what's going on. However, Seed Savers, they're all open pollinated plants, which means that when you collect the seed, that seed is true to the parent plant. You don't have to cross-pollinate and do all kinds of different things in order to come up with that. So this company saves seed, exchanges seed. They have a real good deal on potatoes where they try to save all different varieties of potatoes. And my aunt, Auntie BB in New Hampshire,
Hi.
very much wanted me to find the cow potato. Cowhorn potato, okay? Simple potato. We grew hundreds of acres of it when I was a kid. Well, we grew about an acre, literally, of potatoes. That was our job.
That's enough.
And that was a lot of potatoes.
Yeah.
And we grew the cowhorn because they grew very well in that environment up there in New Hampshire and in the rocks and the rubble. And it's pretty rough country to grow anything up there. So I figured, okay, I'll find cow potato. I wrote to every seed company I could find, emailed and back and forth, and it is an extremely rare seed potato. Now, I found a company, Seed Savers, the Seed Exchange, who actually has a start of it, and they are propagating it. And once they get up to 100 pounds, so they don't even have 100 pounds yet. Once they get 100 pounds,
then they start selling some?
No, then they will exchange. They send it to you. You grow 100 pounds. You send back to them 20 pounds, and you keep the rest.
Oh, man, I'll never
See?
follow through with that. I'll never be able to keep up with that.
That's how seed, you know.
Well, the heirloom tomatoes, again, back to that. They have been passing down the seeds for years.
All of my heirlooms, when my house burnt, all of the seeds that I had been saving for, oh gosh, since 74, I had some seeds from a German tomato. I don't know, some of you may remember up at Neil's, when I had Neil's Seed and Landscape on Indiana Avenue.
That was you?
That was me.
That was you?
Anyway, I had 4 varieties that were my varieties. We had the Harold's Heavyweight, which Harold's starting to be.
Oh, I thought that was my nickname.
No. Then we had the Neil's Giant. Then we had the Crown of Thorns.
Now that one's me.
And then we had one that was a strawberry pepper tomato.
Weird.
And it was, it had a shape like a bell pepper.
Wow.
When you pulled the seed cluster out, it looked like a strawberry, but it was actually a tomato. And so you could slice it and fry it just like a pepper.
I wouldn't even know how to cook it. What do you do with it?
It was just so neat.
Okay.
And we also had black tomatoes, and we also had snowball tomatoes. They tasted terrible, but anyway,
they were cool to look at.
All of those heirlooms,
speaking of seeds,
I lost.
I did some of this last year. I have one poppy plant.
Hold the bag up. Oh, sorry.
It's not a bag for my head, Goofy. Give me that. Here, put it in front of your face. No, I want a double
poppy
bagger.
seeds. Poppy seeds.
Oh, yeah, poppy seeds. Last year, I have one poppy plant, a beautiful peach colored, and it's paper, you know, like crepe paper. Oh, well, you know what poppies are. They're gorgeous. Well, he told me to save the seed heads because I only had one plant. So I did. I have a bag full of them. Poppy seed heads.
First time she's ever done what I told her to.
Yeah, first time ever. So you have a seed head, basically. Now, if he gets on the backup camera here, I'm going to make a heck of a
Hold it up.
Okay, you take this. Okay, you've got your dried seed pod. Work this way.
Just hold it right there.
Hush. And you break the top off like that. And lo and behold, it looks like little granules of pepper, but that is seeds. Little granules of pepper is seeds. And so
now there's going to be a whole floor full of poppies up here at the studio.
That's what I made, was a mess. Okay. Anyway, I've collected all these seeds, and this little paper here is filled with millions of them, because I did already shake out a bunch of the seed heads. You can also make tea out of the poppy heads, but we're not going to go into that. Anyhow, so
Poppy
I am going to
tea.
plant these.
Yes, sirree,
Now,
Bob. Right here, you heard it first on
what
TV3.
it says to do is to sprinkle these, which look like grains of pepper, onto the top of the soil, kind of just press them. You don't want to cover them, and then keep them moist until they germinate. Now, what I really thought was cool.
Keep them moist till they germinate?
Keep them spraying
How are you going to do that?
with a spray bottle.
You're going to stand out there and just keep them moist?
No, I'm going to have a tray in the house, in the kitchen. Okay, that's where I put those.
They are going to die.
All right, listen, hush with that. So, but one thing it said, and I wanted to ask, I just threw those seedlings all over your floor.
Yes, ask me.
I wanted to ask you about, because it says, after that they germinate, move the pots underneath a fluorescent light plugged into a timer so that they get 12 hours of light a day. Lower the light directly on top of, but not touching, the leaves of the oriental poppies. This prevents them from growing spindly and weak.
I'm happy for you.
Now tell me how this is a...
Let me tell you what you do, folks. You take these seeds, you take them out, you make sure that you prep the soil first, all right? You want it weed-free and plant-free. You don't want anything in there. I'd like a little bit
And
of a
don't put
sandy
preen
soil.
in there or the seeds won't germinate.
Yeah, no preen in
right.
there. Put some peat moss in there, sphagnum peat moss in there. Work the soil up a little bit. Now this is after you've removed all of the weeds, all of the competition. Okay, now shake the seeds in there. Don't
step on them.
Wait a minute. Don't.
Wait a minute.
If you step on them, they'll stick to the bottom of your foot.
Oh, I didn't think of that.
Okay. What was I going to say? Don't do.
I don't know.
I don't. Shake the seeds on there. Don't get them too thick.
Oh, you
That
said
was what I was
about
gonna
this
say.
light here. So.
Never mind about that nonsense. Do this outside, okay? Shake them on there, and then if you have something to do it with, roll them into the ground. Now you can just take a Pepsi bottle or whatever. Just roll it on top of that little area where you've put these seeds. That's it. You're done. Okay?
That's it.
Now you want to moisten the ground, but not make the ground wet.
Well, what if they're spindly?
And what I want you to do is lay one layer of newspaper over the top of that. What you will do then
I was supposed to ask why.
Moist.
I'm sorry.
If she's not going to talk to me, I'll just keep right on going.
All right.
It'll keep it moist.
Why, honey?
It will allow the seeds to germinate without burning up because the sun can burn them up. It'll keep the birds away because birds love poppy seeds. And everything that you need to do on this inside and
Well, that's why I wanted to start them in the house
around.
so that when I put them outside, they would already be little plants.
Well, good
the
luck to
problem
you.
is it says if you're going to start them in little pots in the house, say, use a peat pot because what happens is they have one taproot, like a dandelion,
hate to be disturbed.
and they do not like to be disturbed. So you may have them in a pot. Now you're going to transplant them. You got to take them out of the pot. Whereas if you have a peat pot, you just plant the whole thing.
Let me tell you what, I had when I did the Indianapolis Zoo, I was supposed to have a field of poppies, okay? I went and bought a field of poppies. I bought 100 of them. Set them in everywhere, and they would not. I didn't have a good result whatsoever. But the next year, when I seeded the whole thing, they were gorgeous.
Well, I'm
we
gonna
have
try.
a caller. We're going straight to the line,
All right.
and then we'll come back to her.
Well, hello there.
Hello, how's everybody doing?
Oh,
Doing well.
we're doing okay.
What can we for you do?
Well, actually, this is Christopher. I'm in
Hey,
Texas.
baby, how are you?
Hey, Christopher, you're in Texas, I see.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I have a
Dad,
third
I'm
eye.
still in Texas.
We
running
miss
around,
you.
and I'm actually been noticing a lot of cactus blooms.
Yeah.
Oh.
And, Yeah, it's actually really, really nice and real pretty. But I was wondering if there's any way to get cactuses still. I mean, I know they grow everywhere, but is there a way to get the cactuses I see down here, like the flowering cactus, the nopals and everything, to
I
still
was
grow up in
actually
our...
hoping you might bring me home some cuttings or something that I could start from your trip. I don't know how to go about
Yeah,
doing
you
it.
don't need much of a. when
We
it
have the
comes-
prickly pear here, which has a beautiful bloom on it. As you know.
He's in the land of
But
the giant
you have
nopal.
awesome. Yes, I would
And
love
that
to.
nopal is tremendous for people with diabetes.
Wow.
Okay, what your
I would like
question
to.
was is how to transfer it back to here?
Or bring a
Yes.
cutting or something.
If I'm
Yeah.
going to be driving back or coming back, I might be able to ship a piece. I didn't know if there was a way to transplant it from here and bring it back there if it would still survive too, or if there was a
Well,
better
you
way of
have
doing
a
it.
couple of problems. One is there are some plants which you're not allowed to bring across, but within the United States, there's normally no restriction or very few restrictions. There are some plants that are considered noxious. There are plants that you can buy in Ohio and plant in Indiana, but you're not supposed to. They're
And
disallowed
wood, certain
here.
wood like ash, you can't move around.
Right, and depending on what insects are. Now, as far as bringing a cacti back, you could do it with a very, very small cutting. You don't need very much of a cutting off from a cacti. And the reason for that is everything that you need is contained within the plant. If it gets extremely dry, they survive. If it gets extremely wet, they survive. You can take a piece off from there, a very small piece, wrap it in a wet paper towel, and you're done.
Oh, wow. Well, I hope you can do that. Bring us, ship us something. And
Then when you get back, you you of course put it down in something where it can root. But I wouldn't be surprised if on the way home it didn't sprout some roots off from that piece, because normally they're transferred from the birds eating them and dropping pieces as they move around.
by the way,
That makes
we
sense.
spent the day with your two little girls today.
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did. Boy, they are something else. Beautiful, spunky. Poor little Taylor wasn't feeling well today, but Rowan was her regular herself.
Yeah.
Always a pleasure. Well, when are you coming home, boy?
They just added 4 days on, so I'll be home probably this weekend.
All right. Well, we're looking forward to seeing you big time.
Love you. Miss you. Stay
Bye,
safe.
everybody.
All right. Love you, Christopher. Bye.
Okay, now you
Good to
were
hear from
on,
him.
Yeah, is that one of my children?
It is.
Okay, there we go.
Oh, I have another joke.
Yes.
Okay, what season is it when you're on a trampoline? It's springtime.
Why don't I have a chance to answer these questions?
Because you don't know the answer. I might
that's
as well
true,
just
I
give the answer. You know I'm a terrible
Okay.
delivery of a joke.
Yes, okay.
Okay, and speaking of my poppies here, which I am going to try planting, I also, last year when I went to the beach in New Jersey, which was right before the hurricane hit and destroyed the whole area where I had stayed, actually. But while I was there,
Hurricane Michelle.
yeah, there was a beautiful plant I noticed walking to the beach every day. Stopped and asked the homeowner about it, and he gave me a seed pod, cute little seed pod. And about a week later, it exploded and looked like some kind of monster, and then I realized it was dried and there were seeds inside.
What?
Remember when the seed pod exploded and it was like, what is that? Okay, well, those seeds I am also going to try to plant this year and get one of these. It's like a trumpet crossed with a thistle kind of plant, and it kind of grows this way and that way.
Well, the angel plant is
it's
a trumpet.
similar, but
It's not an angel plant?
No, because it kind of grows this way and that way. It has weird looking things, and then it has like thistle balls, which are the seed pods on it.
That's an
So-
angel plant has a thistle ball.
Well, I'm going to plant
To
it.
some
We'll
extent.
see what happens. So
We'll
I'm
see what
definitely
happens.
gonna
If it starts
work on
eating the
that.
children.
One last thing I have planted, though, is we belong to the Arbor Day Foundation, which is
Oh, yeah, they'd be real happy with
they
us.
do well. They're a great foundation. You know, they promote Arbor Day, growing trees, whatever.
Come see all the trees you sent us.
Well,
We have a forest.
As part
Massive.
of when you renew your membership, they send you 10 free Colorado blue spruce
Or-
seedlings. Usually this happens when we're in New Hampshire. I come home, they're rotten, no good, whatever. Got them this year. We're here. I planted them yesterday, okay? So we have 10 Colorado blue spruce in the ground, this big, little baby trees. We'll see what happens. See if I
She
can
has
kill those
trouble
too.
growing rocks, okay?
I do.
We'll
Okay.
see how
no,
these
my
survive.
houseplants have done well, long as I water them only when Dad's flower pot sings.
They're all plastic. I got plastic.
No,
soup.
if I water them when the flower pot sings.
No, she's actually done very, very well. And the reason she's done
My
well
problem is overwatering.
because if they die, then she has to tell her father that he's a
No,
failure.
it's because I always overwater is what I'm figuring out now. Now I
That's
just
true.
wait
That's true.
until the guy sings and then I water.
That's true.
So-
The fat man has sung.
That's right. Okay, what else you got going on there,
Oh,
bud?
I got all kinds of stuff.
All right, let's have
right
it.
now, we're 7 weeks before last frost. So let's say that it's...
That's now?
no,
We
no,
are
no.
7 weeks
No,
out?
No. May the 1st, actually April the 25th, I'm saying Thursday, is the last frost date. So
Oh.
if you back up 7 weeks from that, these are the things you could have planted 7 weeks ago.
Man, I slept since then.
Alyssum, Dusty Miller, actually the Dracaena. All of the plants that come from Africa, they're frost and freeze hardy.
And
I did not
pansies.
know
Now,
that.
I knew that.
Yeah,
Pansies
pansies
are
are. Snapdragons, sweet pea, and larkspur. Again, 7 weeks back, you could have planted
Say that
asparagus,
again.
chives,
That's his
larkspur.
New England accent. Larkspur. Say it again.
Larkspur.
Okay.
Go away.
It comes out every once in a while.
Asparagus, chives, fennel, garlic, onions, peas, potatoes, radish, and strawberries.
It's a garlic.
That's in the garlic. That's in the the vegetables. Now, if you were 3 weeks ago, this is 3 weeks prior to the things that you could have planted. They would be artichokes, celery, leeks. In the annuals, it's a
what a
big,
list.
giant list.
And starts of perennials. A heck of a list. Bleeding hearts.
The giant list on perennials too. Now, when you get to the frost-free date, and you know, when I was doing my research, this is a great place to go. Dave's Garden. If you're going online, just punch in Dave's Garden. It is a tremendous website. It's full of information. There's all kinds of committees and projects you can get into, but it shows Newcastle's record of their entries of when it was 32 degrees, 28 degrees, 24 degrees. And it also shows Cambridge City, and then they have another chart that's for Rushville. Now, the difference between Cambridge City, or let's just say Newcastle and Cambridge City, not very far apart, okay, was April 26th. 50% of the 32-degree days were on April 26th, whereas when you get to Cambridge City, it was April 30th. And I find that very interesting, especially when it comes to growing things. The difference was about 8 days, all the way down through
Right
the chart.
in the next town.
Right in the very next town.
Wow. Is that about elevation, location, and the I-70 Valley corridor,
Yeah.
all that?
I'm not here by mistake. I love this I-70 corridor. I want it to be above the Ohio River. I want it to be above where the Ohio River Channel is, which is 52, and I want it to be below the new corridor that was created when 40 was put across and then 70 beside it.
Well, it's all kind of the same valley. 40 was first and then the interstate, but, you know, a little bit separated.
If
but
you will look at the weather, they bounce off those two
Always.
channels. They always bounce
And our
off.
weather will go north of 70 or south of 70. It seems like that channel, which was
Except-
caused by glaciation, and
When something does come right down the pike, we're going to get
yeah,
hit.
look out.
But it's going to be a very rare. This is a good zone to live in.
It is.
It's a well protected area, and we love the people and the environment around here. As a matter
we
of fact,
like this zone.
it is white bass season,
Oh,
and
word.
the white bass are running. And I don't know what we're doing sitting here. Did you say we had a caller?
Yeah, well, he wanted to go
We
fishing.
have a caller, so probably about the fishing.
That's
probably about
right.
the white bass.
Listen,
Hi.
you said something about sugar diabetes a while ago.
Yes, nopal, the plant nopal, Nopal, has been known by the Native Americans to level your sugar for a couple hundred years, and it has been investigated by the Department of
FDA.
Veterans, the VA.
Oh, the VA.
The
Okay.
VA has put it on their list with cinnamon. They recommend the Diabetes Council for the VA, for the veterans, recommends cinnamon, nopal, and what is the other thing? Dun, 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 dun.
Nopal, did you say? How do you spell that?
It's Nopal. And they actually sell that in your local herbal supply
Yeah,
store.
I think it's even in the
here in
drugstores
town,
now.
and they sell it there. And he takes that, and he had problems with spiking sugar, and then it would drop. And of course, you got to watch what you eat all the time. And he was having a lot of high sugar readings. He started
Yeah.
taking that Nopal every day.
Now, of course, we're not giving medical advice.
No,
we're telling you what
absolutely
I
not.
do.
This is just
Well,
what
I
I do.
understand that.
His experience.
Yeah,
It
but
has helped.
It has helped tremendously. I will stay, unless I do something stupid and eat too much.
Ho-hos and ding-dongs.
Whatever. Then, my sugar is going to go up. But under normal circumstances, the nopal
Yes.
keeps me level. I do take the cinnamon. I don't notice a difference with the cinnamon, but there's one other product I take. I can't remember.
Different things work for different people.
Yeah. Is it
There was alpha lipoic acid.
alpha lipoic acid?
That
that's it.
was with the one that worked with cinnamon hand in
Yeah.
hand, kind of.
I
So,
tried those.
Do some research, though, on the internet.
And
or-
then, of course, ask your doctor. And I'm the garden doctor, and I have been known to cure hemorrhoids, but other than that,
or give hemorrhoids.
give treatment for it anyway. A lady called. I was doing a radio show, and somehow she got the idea I was a regular doctor.
Oh, my God.
And somehow she got the idea that I could cure things for her, so she asked me, and I told her to just set close to the earth. And
Yeah.
she called me back about a month later and said that it helped.
Are you diabetic?
Well, listen.
You have trouble with that sugar business?
I do, and I appreciate that. And I will go up here to the herbal store and see if they got it.
That's the one.
I believe
And I
that.
live right here in Connersville.
And then monitor your sugar
Yes.
very closely, because I'll
Oh,
tell you
yeah.
what,
you got
I
the
had
meter
to-
at home?
the thing that I had to
Oh,
watch.
yeah, the meter and everything. I got
My sugar got
diabetes.
too low. I
Yeah.
had to decrease.
He had to lower how much he was
Okay.
taking because it worked so well.
It worked
So you need
extremely
to check your sugar yourself, and then of course we're regular with your doctor every 3 months
I
or
do.
whatever. Yeah.
Okay, well, listen, I sure thank you.
Well,
And I'm
I
going to
thank
get
you very
off here
much.
because I enjoy listening to you, and I can't do that if I'm on the phone.
Well, thank you very much
Okay.
for calling. We
Well,
appreciate
listen,
it.
thank you.
All
Good
right.
night.
Appreciate it.
Bye.
Boy, I tell you what, he was listening good too, because I just hit that no pal
That's
quick.
right.
And,
You said
and was
no
right on
pal
running.
and diabetes,
Yep.
and buddy, he was on it.
And,
That's proactive
and
right there.
I really do believe that it has helped me.
Well, and I've got another friend of mine taking it. I don't think he's been to his doctor to be rechecked yet again. He checks it at home, but
you need to check your blood sugar.
yeah, and check the A1C, which is your long term. Okay, but we don't want to be given any medical advice.
No,
and-
we are going to deliver a baby though in just a few minutes. I'll do something. Okay.
I don't know. You are the doctor.
I
okay.
am the doctor, and I have delivered a
Okay,
baby.
can you fix my hip?
I can't fix your hip, but I think they make one. They make
Yeah,
them.
they're
You know
gonna
what? I think they make
replace it.
hip parts. I think my son makes hip parts up on the north end
Oh,
of town.
does he? Is that what they do up there? Yeah.
He makes some parts. I don't know. We'll make them work.
Looks like I'm going to have a hip, folks, so that ought to be fun. I wish they'd get it over with so I could get out in the garden, but it looks like it's going to be a few months, so we'll see.
Another perennial place that if you ever want to take a trip and you want to see one of the most beautiful perennial places that you'll ever visit, it's Bluestone Perennials up by the Michigan border. And it is absolutely beautiful. It goes on for miles and miles. They come up with new varieties that are their own varieties that are just cultivars that came out better and better. They might have 500 of one particular plant, and they'll see that 10 of those plants are brighter, bigger, better, whatever they happen to be, and they'll select those out, and they'll keep propagating. And they have come up with some absolutely
Well, I'll tell
fabulous.
you, we have got to have our plant sale. We used to have a plant sale every year with our daylilies.
Oh, yeah,
and
we
what
got to
have you.
thin some things
But
out.
we haven't done it for a couple of years with different reasons, health or travel, and we have got clumps of daylilies that are just too big for their rows, and so
We'll
we
thin some things
really
out.
need to thin some things out. So we're
What
not
else
the
you
only
got there,
ones.
dear?
Well, I don't know. I thought we were talking about fishing.
Oh, yeah,
That's
fishing,
right.
fishing out.
Let's go
White
fishing.
bass season. And
It's
this
time.
Wednesday is the beginning of turkey season.
Is it?
Now, I have a place where I can turkey hunt, where the white bass are running on this side, and then if I go over the hump, the crappie are over here. So, you know, I could be there for a week. I don't know.
Well, maybe you could just stare at the turkey and I can go crappie fishing behind you. We could be together that way.
Well, but I need to bring a big turkey for a decoy. I need a decoy.
I'll wear a turkey suit.
There you go.
Okay.
I didn't want to suggest that, but it would be nice.
Well,
you know.
you've tried to
You
put-
did real good with that deer suit.
Yeah, you
That
put
was
a
nice,
deer
yeah.
bunny tail and ears on me in hunting
I thought it-
season. That was
thought it
nice.
looked
Yeah,
real
honey,
nice.
wear that tan coat. That's nice.
I don't suppose that you know this, but there's a fella that looks a lot like me that's, I don't know what's the matter with this guy. He's taken some of my fire, you know. But I've taken back a little bit of his fire. Because when I was down at the dollar store the other day and I was getting some stuff, this guy come up to me and he says, "I'd like to have your autograph." And I said, "Oh, geez, he wants a garden doctor autograph. Isn't that nice?" And he says, "You know, I like that Willie fella." And I said, "Willie?
What
Who?
is he
What are you
talking
talking
about?
And he says,
my
can you make one of those calls with your mouth?" And I went, "Oh my God." Well, he was, of course, talking about Duck Dynasty.
Oh my gosh.
This is because of Brothers of the Bush? Or Rush?
Oh, God.
Brush. Brothers of the Bush, which I am a card
Brothers of the Brush.
Brush.
Not the bush.
The Brush.
Oh my
Okay.
God, I don't believe you said that.
Anyway, and then what? And it's the same thing, only different. So, and if you
I'm
have
leaving now.
things on your face, you need to go get a card, and maybe
Yes.
we'll have a T-shirt.
They are having a beard judging contest on June 29th, I believe it is, and it's part of the bicentennial celebration here in Connorsville. There's going to be week-long of events.
But I don't look a thing
and all
like this guy,
kinds of-
do I? This Willie guy?
Well,
I don't look a thing
now
like
that you mention it, if
What?
you just had a do-rag on and didn't wear a
Well,
ponytail.
And I am a serious duck hunter. That's
I mean,
for sure.
the beard
and
covers
I have
everything.
a few of his calls, but I've never seen the show. But I intend to see the show. Because
then
you
they're
know what?
coming here to the
If
Spartan
he's taking
Bowl.
some of our flame, we ought to ask him to throw a little mention our way.
Well, you know, that whole thing they're doing is for a benefit. They're actually doing it to raise money. They're only taking what money it is to cover the actual costs of putting on the event, and everything else is going to...
I saw that.
Is it put on by the hospital? I can't tell you exactly
yeah, it's
where
the
the money's
hospital
going
and
to, but it
another
is for
foundation.
charity
and-
benefit something.
Yeah, it's a really good idea. They even they've had two. They're going to have two shows because
It's not just to buy more duck shells to shoot. It is for a good cause.
Duck calls, yeah. Well,
It's a good cause because he wants to go hunting.
That's right. Now, if you are concerned because your plants got froze in the last 2 days, because we had 2 consecutive frosts, we had a light frost and a hard frost, and one of them could be considered a freeze. Now, the difference is substantial to the plants, but minimal to most of the plants that are out there, because they're set up for that. This is something that happens every once in a while. Plants start to grow early because we have a false spring, and then they get frosted back. There's plenty of energy for them to recover from that. If your trees were frosted, or if your shrubs, now the magnolias, they were gorgeous this year.
Oh, my word, were
but
they
some of
beautiful.
them that just crested out into full color because they were in a little bit more protected areas, they got frosted, and they turned this brownish, ugly looking color.
Just
and
tainted the blooms a little bit.
It's a shame. Now, there is a later blooming magnolia that they've hybrid, so that it doesn't have as much of that frost problem. So when you go down and get a magnolia, try not to get the Solangiana, but get more of the Nigra. There's also another Dr. Merrill's.
No, I had to have a magnolia when I moved here from Florida.
You have a later
I said,
blooming.
I miss the southern magnolia, and if you've ever been down there, you know they have that kind of waxy leaf, very fragrant. Well, I wanted a magnolia. He said,
we
you can't have
grow.
that. But
no, now we can grow the sweet bay magnolia.
We're in a different
yes,
zone now?
but it has to be somewhat protected.
Okay.
You should either wrap it with burlap in the wintertime, or plant it where it's protected from the wind, like behind a wall of a fence, or where a building protects it a little bit. Another thing that you can grow up here that I just love, and I'm going to have one in my yard, is a mimosa.
Oh,
that is a
yes,
beautiful tree. Now, up until recently, you could grow them, but
Now
they would dry all the way down to the ground some years. You'd have to cut them off. They'd start from the roots.
That is a version of, in Florida, the Royal Poinciana.
Right.
Which is red. It's that feathery, ferny blossom
Right.
that's red, and they make big, long seed pods. Now, does your mimosa, the one that's just like it, but that's lavender or purple, do they make seed pods?
I think yes.
Okay, I think it's in the same family, this
think yes.
tree, so I
know
like
that
that.
the Kentucky coffee tree does, and I'm pretty sure that the mimosa does also. Another plant that has come along beautifully here lately, we used to have to go to see the best of them down into Kentucky, is the crepe myrtle. You can grow crepe myrtle here now
They're
with
very beautiful.
abundance, and I'm using them in a lot of landscapes. I really like that plant. But you want to be careful the variety that you put in your yard. Make sure that it is drought resistant. I planted arborvitaes for years and years and years and years, and I'm driving around now and seeing arborvitaes dying everywhere. Wow. There are certain arborvitaes that are more drought tolerant than others. Most of them have no tolerance to salt, so you don't want them planted too close to the road. Be very aware of where you're putting plants. Check the environment out, then go find a plant that fits the environment. It may not be exactly the plant that you wanted, but you want something that'll grow there unattended, naturally, for as long as it possibly can, and give you as much joy as possible without requiring
I had a
lot of
daylily and I knew it was a beautiful flower. I had purchased this daylily, and it never bloomed. It would never bloom year after year. And he finally told me, he says, you're just not getting quite enough light there. So we dug it up and moved it into a sunnier location, and bam, it started to bloom that year, the next year, and it's been fine ever since. It just didn't quite like it there.
I have a customer that we were just at the other day, Evelyn Wilson and her daughter, and the Swains and everything. Shout out to you guys. Hey. I'm sure she's listening. Her eyes are giving her some problems, and I wish there was something I could do about that, but we had some lilacs that we had put into that yard, and there they were, and they just stayed there. Now, they were nice bushes, but there was no blossom. And when I looked at the soil that was around them, we weren't getting a blossom because the soil was depleted. It was not good ground to begin with, and we were asking much of it. And they were not in the perfect light environment. They had some overcast, some trees shading them. So I fertilized them at the right time of the year last fall. and I fertilized them earlier in the season too. If at all possible, I would have used seaweed. I love seaweed, but so did the deer. So the seaweed fertilizer is one of the best because it has every
Well, the
nutrient,
fish
every
emulsion
mineral.
is good too, but it stinks. Nobody
Well,
wants to
fish
smell
emulsion
it.
only stinks for a short period of time, but
Ugh.
something that you're going to attract if you use fish emulsion is flies,
yes.
and skunks. I have been spraying it. I used to fertilize I made a mistake one time. I was doing the fertilizing and the maintenance and sales at Whitetail Acres.
Singers.
Singers. It was Singers then. And
God.
I put in the injector, I ran out of fertilizer. I didn't have what I needed.
Oh,
so
use
here was
this.
these 3 old bottles of fish emulsion.
Oh,
I
yay.
poured them in there, and I'm down through backing up, spraying, and fertilizing all of the greenhouses
goodness.
inside the greenhouse with the heat on.
The wicked smell.
Oh.
The stench of death.
Doug came back from vacation.
What on
and
earth
thought
died?
the place had died.
Smelled like it died.
I had to.
Did we happen to mention it's Earth Day?
Earth Day, yes, it's Earth Day.
Today
That means
is Earth Day.
go out with your bottom all natural and set in the dirt. That's what you're supposed to do.
That is not what that means.
What?
Actually, Earth Day was started a long, long time ago, and it used to be observed on the first day of spring. However, somebody back in the 70s, I can't remember his name. I'm not going to try because it's kind of goofy. But anyhow, and it doesn't matter.
It's not goofy. It's Gaylord.
His name
and he
was
was
something or other Gaylord.
He was the
Okay,
senator.
there it is.
That was his first name.
I don't know.
Nothing wrong with Gaylord.
That's funny. But
I'm not going to tell you.
he
Never mind.
decided, I don't know if he decided, but it was his idea. Anyway, Earth Day is now celebrated on April 22nd of every year. And the whole idea of it is to bring knowledge and information to your resources, to our pollution, to earth, the nature, trees, all of the above. Of course, a big focus on recycling.
The 3 R's.
3 R's, reuse, recycle, and reduce.
There you go.
Reduce, reuse, and recycle. And you know, we have this going on all the time, hoarding versus collecting. Okay, you know, saving old jars and whatever, okay, maybe that's old-fashioned. But you know what? When you need something put in a jar, you go out and you find a jar. Well, I think of that as being responsible and, you know, instead of just going and buying something every time you're needing it and throwing everything away when you don't need it.
And I have 2 school buses, full of stuff to go look at,
That
and
I'll
a
ever
great
need.
big building,
My whole life.
and an old house, and a garage that I can't even walk through, so that we can go shopping at home. Isn't that fun?
And none of it was my idea, just so you know, it's a
Just
guy
so
thing.
You know, it's a
Okay.
guy thing. Listen to you.
You are. I don't know. If you border on the collecting.
We definitely
hoarding line.
are glad to see a new.
We like our stuff. That's all.
New landscaper in town, and built a beautiful facility up there. I understand that he's doing a little bit of everything. Got lawn care and mulching, and he's going to, of course, offer the annuals and the perennials, and they've got all kinds of landscape services, Amish furniture. There was a number of things that looked quite interesting.
Home decor type things, according to their ad. Yep.
Him and his wife.
Oh, honey, just one more. What does the Easter rabbit get for making a basket?
Oh, I'm not going to go there.
2 points, just like everybody. You get it? The bunny made a basket.
Oh, thank you very much for sharing.
Well, I thought it was funny.
You know, if you ever heard her father tell a joke, those would be the kind of jokes.
What flowers grow on faces?
I don't
Yes,
know.
you know. Tulips.
Tulips.
Of course.
Yes, isn't that wonderful?
Okay.
I wonder if this clock here matches their clock back
I
there.
don't know. If so, we have 2 minutes.
We have, what, 11 minutes left?
And again, 2. He says 2. He's going to cut us off one way or the other in 2 minutes.
Nah,
Well, again, we need to say another. Our hearts are with all the Boston Marathon survivors and their families, and our hearts go out to those that were lost. And we're also thinking of all the people who are dealing with all the flooding here in Indiana.
Another
And
tragedy was a a big avalanche just took out 5 people. And these were all extremely experienced people. And I know what an avalanche is.
Yes.
I've been in 2 or 3 of them myself.
So just some
I've
current
done a lot of
events that
high climbing.
that affect us personally and as a group and as a community, and everybody kind of feels that at the same time. I think when something like that happens, we
Sure do.
try to pull together.
Yes,
we do.
That's so nice.
It is.
And we want to thank the community too for all the support that you've shown, and all of the times that you walk up to us and say, you know, we really love your show, and we see it over and over and over.
Thank you.
What are you doing that for? What's
We
the matter with
do
you?
appreciate
Get
that.
out of the house.
I get a little embarrassed, but I get over it pretty quick because I enjoy it.
It really is. We enjoy doing it, and again, the only benefit that we get from this, there is no sponsorship or anything. The only benefit that we get is that we love it.
We do
really
love
enjoy
it.
We love you people, and we enjoy doing
Thank
the show.
you.
Thank you very much, and
Till
see
next
us
time.
again in a month.
The Garden Doctor.